Hey everybody, getting used to it, but Chat E is now a twice a week thing, which is really exciting. Sunday and Monday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Always be looking out. Different content creators, different young entrepreneurs, and all kinds of cool people that I'll be talking with over the course of the next couple months, but it'll be super consistent. So, always so happy to have you guys along this journey, learn about so many different people's stories. And yeah, it's honestly so much fun. What's going on? Glad to have everyone here. Hope everyone's having a great day. Happy Monday. Hi, Ange. Oh my gosh, thank you. It means so much. Hope you're doing well and school is great and everything in your life is killing it. You're doing great. All right, my guest has just arrived. Here we go. Got this.
Hello.
Hi, Lauren. How are ya?
Good. I think my lighting in here is terrible. I'm going to try and make it as best as I can.
Oh, girl, you're good. I'm actually going to turn up my volume. My hands over the camera. Oops. How are you? Good to see ya.
Good. How are you?
I am wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm really glad that we're going to get to talk. So I'm going to start off and just give a little intro and then give you the opportunity to do the same.
Okay.
All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the next episode of Chat E. Chat E is an opportunity for young entrepreneurs, professionals, and content creators to just come on and share their story and talk about what they're up to. My guest this evening is the wonderful Lauran Woolley, and she is a fifth grade teacher who has become an amazing content creator on TikTok, has blown up, and just kind of shared her story over the last couple years, right? The course of quarantine and just everything that she's been doing with this hard school year, but just keeping things fun and creative and exciting for her kids. And she's just popping off all the time. So I'm actually a teacher too. So this is like really exciting for me because I have so many questions for you. And I feel like so many people will be able to learn so much from you because this year's been so hard, but like teaching and just the school system and everything that's going on. So you're such an inspiration and super exciting and always have cool, fun things going on. So like I said, very excited to have you and to learn more about you and your story.
Thank you. I'm excited to be
You're
here.
welcome. So do you want to kind of just give an intro and say, like, add anything else that I didn't share?
I think you kind of hit it all. Yeah, like she said, I'm a fifth grade teacher. Right now I teach language arts, but I'll be teaching all 4 subjects next year. This is my second year at the school that I'm at currently, and my second year in fifth grade. I taught second grade previously, and yeah, I just kind of started TikTok as like a bet with one of my students, and it turned into all of this. So
Popped off, gone crazy, so exciting. Of the 2 grades, do you have a preference? I feel like they're so different because in second grade, they're at such like a, prime time to be like transitioning into like real people. You can have conversations,
yeah.
they get your jokes and all that, but they're still little. And then fifth grade, they're like mini adults.
Yeah, it's hard. It's kind of like the best of both worlds, but I do prefer fifth grade just because they're much more self-sufficient, and
Totally.
like I'm so sarcastic and just like messing around with them all the time, and they understand it. Whereas in second grade, like maybe some students would get your jokes, but then others would take you seriously.
Totally. Yeah. No,
So I would be teasing them and they would think they were like in trouble or something. So I definitely enjoy the fifth graders. I think they have a great sense of humor. They're funny. And they're still in that like awesome age where they enjoy school still, and they like
right.
want to please their teachers, but they're, transitioning into being middle schoolers. So
Totally. Big
kind of
step.
that awkward age.
Yeah. So how has like quarantine been and like teaching this year where you are? I live in Maryland and we just went back like hybrid March 1st, but like all year it's been virtual for
My
the most.
gosh. Wow. We actually started the first 2 weeks of school in August hybrid, and then we have been we had 2 options since then. So it has been like I've been in the classroom full time since August, and I had students that had the option to be remote, and then the rest were 5 days a week in person. So we just now, I think we're at like 95% back in person. So like that 5% are now being taught by a separate teacher. So it's kind of like I work with her, but I kind of have like a little bit more freedom now to do like more of the things that I was doing in my classroom before.
Right.
just because it's so much harder when you're trying to plan for digital and in-person students,
Yeah.
and it's just you can't do any fun in-person stuff because you're trying to accommodate both groups.
No, totally. Yeah. The oldest grade that I've worked with is third grade, and I really enjoyed it because of the things you said before. Is like they're excited to learn, but they get your jokes and can talk to you. But then right now I'm in kindergarten, and I'm teaching kindergarten, and it's hybrid. So like I have 6 kids who are like home all the time, and then that's just so hard to like see where they're getting, and just so many different things going on with that. But then the rest of them are there, but there's so many things like you said that we can't do.
Oh yeah, definitely. Sorry, like my lighting is awful in here. I'm like at my mom's house right now because we're building a house, so like
Oh, fun.
I don't have my like usual room that I would be filming in.
Oh, don't worry. I love the background. And this is totally random, but your eyebrows are like everything. I feel like you get that all the time, but they're like so nice. I've like noticed them in all
Oh,
your videos, and I was like, I'm just gonna tell her for real.
thank you. I actually like am really terrible at doing my eyebrows. I just fill them in with eyeshadow. So
No, they look
like,
great. They're really
thank
like
you.
they match your hair. They're really pretty. I feel like they just like pull everything. They look good. They're really nice.
Thank you.
So, of course, you're welcome. So, we titled this chat TikTok Made Me a Better Teacher. So, you said that you started TikTok based off of a bet. And what was your first video about? Like, where did you start? Because you have blown up and gone crazy since then. But where did you start? Like, what was your initial bet TikTok?
So what happened was like last year, right before we all went virtual, I had a student that was, just disruptive in class and like not so much in my class, but my co-teacher's class. Like he just wasn't like didn't have a good relationship with her and just would misbehave all over the place. And so he had mentioned to me one day that he had 8,000 followers on TikTok. And at
And
the
he's
time
little.
I thought that was a lot. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so
Right.
many people.
Yeah.
And so then I don't know why this clicked in my head, but I was just kind of like, all right, well, I bet you I can get more than you. And it kind of just started there. And so I started making videos like either late February or like very early in March. And it was just kind of like for fun, just with my student to see like who could win the bet. And I thought for sure he was going to win.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't know, maybe I just was on at the right time, but it
Yeah.
just, I just started making funny comedy videos. And I think like the funny thing about TikTok is like you kind of have to find your niche. Like
Yeah.
obviously my niche is like teacher content, but I mean, I started off making content for teachers and then I was like, wait a minute, the majority of people that use this app are not teachers, are
Right.
they're kids.
Sure.
So why am I not making content for them?
Sure.
So I started making more like comedy based videos that were, either student comedy or like teacher making fun of myself as a teacher.
Right.
And that's what kind of blew up. And the biggest thing that actually like blew up my account was a series that I started called My Favorite Answers. And I would pose a question to my audience and then I would choose a bunch of comments that were my favorite. And in the next video, I would kind of make a collection of those comments and like read them off in funny voices or like just as a character or whatever. And people thought they were hilarious. So I just started doing those. And that's kind of what started everything. So.
Well, I think especially as a teacher, no matter like what age you're working with, you kind of have to be like fun and engaging and want to like keep people like you keep the kids engaged and wanting to like learn from you, because if you're boring, blah, then they're like they don't want to listen, whatever. So I think that especially when you started to think that there's a bunch of kids like people that are younger learning from me, that's perfect. But then it wasn't just the kids that are benefiting at this point. Now it's like everybody.
Yeah, definitely.
Did it freeze? I think we're good. So
yeah, I had to switch up my brightness on my phone. It was like really, really dark.
Oh, no worries. You're good. You're good. So if you ever like are including kids at all, or even just like their voices and stuff, I think I've always wondered this and I'm assuming the case is yes, but have you had to like email out and like ask parent permission for all of those things, or like what is the deal with that? Or did the school have any rules with how you could go about inclusion of anybody?
My school is very cool with my TikTok. Like they're like very supportive of everything. I personally have a thing about including my kids in my videos just because you know, my students are 10 and 11 years old. Like, I have an audience of 4 million people. Like, that's a lot of
Insane.
people.
That's
So
a lot of people.
it's a lot of people to be looking at a 10-year-old. And
Yeah.
so for me, like, if I ever do include my kids in a video, it's either like their voice
Right.
or like they will show me something and I'll only show like their hands, or like they will like most recently the one student that has been like begging me to make videos with her, she'll put a mask like over her eyes so that like over her face so it's covered
Yeah.
up.
Hmm.
And I think that's the only way I will do that. I mean, I could put out permission slips, and I'm sure the parents in my district would be really cool with it.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know. I get weary about doing that just for like their privacy and their safety.
No, I
But
think that's wonderful. I agree with you entirely. 4
but I
million
also
people is a
don't care
lot.
if other people do. Like, you know, like I'm
Yeah.
not like
Yeah.
someone that's like, you know, don't show your kids in a video. Like, I don't care if you do. Like, that's fine. I just, me personally, I'm just like not, I don't know. I just don't.
No, I mean, I think, especially because your following is so large, I think that's like totally appropriate. And you like, even though there's 4 million people, you never know like some of them. And I think just for the safety of the kids, because they're so
Right.
little, that's definitely super important.
Right.
So because you've been making videos for a while now and grown such a following, do you want to share about the importance of like once you find your niche, the like consistency of your content? Like, what have you learned about that? Because so many people that I've spoken with and interviewed share about finding your niche and the importance of like, okay, once people are following you, they know like what you're going to give, so then you're doing that. But do you want to talk about the consistency and the importance of that, just really like in anything that you do?
Yeah. So I'm very lucky to have, like, my husband is a marketing specialist. So he guides me in a lot of some of the things that I do and like the ways that I post and things like
Mm-hmm.
that, just because that's literally what he has a degree in.
That's
So
awesome. Yeah.
um, I post every single day on TikTok because that's just how the algorithm goes. And same with
Yeah.
Instagram. The algorithm favors people that post more often. And that's actually one of the qualifications to becoming verified on an app also is posting consistently. So if you're someone that's like, oh, I'll post like this week and then I won't post for 3 more weeks and then I'm going to post again, that like you shouldn't expect to have a huge like growth of your profile off of that, because it's just not, your videos aren't being pushed out or your posts aren't being pushed out. So
Totally. Yeah.
yeah, so I post every day. I don't know. I like, maybe I'm just superstitious, but like I do not post a video that doesn't have hashtags on it for whatever
Yeah.
reason. Like, I know there are some people that just post and don't even have like a caption or hashtags or whatever, but I just can't. Like
Yeah.
like
You know, it
I don't
works.
know. So I just make sure that I use hashtags that are like relevant to the video, because sometimes if you put like the hashtags that are trending but like your video has nothing to do with that, it can actually hurt your video on the algorithm. um and then as far as like my niche, like obviously I know people that follow me are looking for like pretty much one of 3 or 4 things. They're either looking for new question alert videos, they're looking for day in the life videos, or they're looking for things my students do that I just don't get, and like the teacher comedy sketches. So
The
like
pencil
I
sharpening.
know, yeah.
That's
So
funny.
like I know that like if I post something outside of that realm, that it's not going to get as many views
Right.
as, you know, my regular content. But I think that's still important for like people as creators to still show more of themselves than just, you know, the set thing that you got famous off of, or the set
Totally.
thing that people watch you for, because you're a whole person. You're not just, you know, one series of a video. So
Totally.
I'm trying to like include more of like things that are happening in my life, and some of my day in life videos I'll do like on the weekends so people can see like what I'm usually doing when I'm not at school.
I don't
And
teach all the time.
right, I don't live at the school. So
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
and
I
that's,
have an
it's
actual
kind of
life.
helped my students too to build a relationship with me, because now they know more about me,
Yeah.
and they can kind of learn what I'm all about.
Yeah.
And then I'm also, you know, I think it's really important to diversify as far as being on different platforms. So
Totally.
I've been branching into YouTube a bit more. I really dropped the ball on YouTube from like August until March, just because I've been so busy.
Sure.
But you know, I'm trying to get more consistent about posting weekly on YouTube, and just being consistent in terms of, yes, I'm going to give the content people want to watch, but I'm also going to include a couple other things every now and then, because you never know, like, who, what followers you're going to pick up from those things, or, what of your own life you might be able to create some kind of series off of.
For sure.
And like, as for series, like creating different series, it's a good thing because then you always have something to fall back on.
Right.
And like on days when I'm like stuck for ideas and I can't think of anything to come up with,
Yeah.
I can always fall back on doing a new question alert, or doing a vlog, or
Totally.
thinking of something my kids do that's weird. Like,
Right.
I guess those would be the things I would say, just as some tips and tricks to anyone trying to, get their profile out there or get their content out there. That's just what I do. So
Totally. Yeah. I feel like with so many content creators that I watch and like follow along with, the YouTube definitely comes after you've gotten into that realm of like extreme consistency, because I can only imagine like having to post every day, but also having a full-time job and then wanting to do all this stuff. It's fun, right? And like YouTube
yeah,
and TikTok, people gravitate towards other people's exciting lives. Even if some people who are like big deal, like they're not doing anything crazy, they're just talking about their life, but like other people
right,
love to watch it. So I
right.
feel like a lot of content creators start later on, and I think that was probably smart on your behalf to like wait a little bit and then be ready for it, so you knew what you wanted to do.
Yeah, and I also think it's a lot harder to break out onto YouTube if you don't already have a following, and
I
unless you
agree.
have some like holy grail idea that nobody has ever come up with. But like at
Are
this
those even
point on the internet, I feel like everything has
yeah?
been done before.
Are those
So
even real?
yeah, so it's kind of like, if you want to have like a lot of subscribers, or if you want to like have viral videos on YouTube, it's almost, easier to start off on TikTok, where you can build a following faster and then
Totally.
push people the other way.
No,
Like,
yeah, I agree. Because now they want to know what you're up to. So
right.
I had a friend, Johnny Q. He's like a spin artist on TikTok, and I
Mhm.
interviewed him a couple months ago, and he like had a goal of like 100,000 by the end of this year, and within like a month, because he has over like I think he has 3 million on TikTok, now has like over 300,000 on YouTube or
Wow. Good
more,
for
and
him.
it happened in like amazing, but like a shorter amount of time, because he built on TikTok for like a year, and like
Right.
same kind of thing. So I think that that's very smart for sure. So if I'm ever looking down, I'm just like writing down people's questions to
Okay.
ask you, or just adding any notes. So just so you know, I'm not like not
Sure.
listening at any point. But a question that came up is, what inspired you to be a teacher when you started out?
So I get asked this a lot, and people are always shocked to find out that I really didn't want to be a teacher at first. It wasn't my first choice. When I was a senior in high school, I actually wanted to be a lawyer, and I was between like going to law school and being a teacher. And I talked to my counselors, and they were like, you should go job shadow someone.
Right.
And so I went back and I job shadowed my kindergarten teacher, and she was just, one of those teachers that you never forget, and like you
Sure.
just always remember projects from her room and stuff. So I went back and job shadowed her for a day, and I just immediately fell in love with it. Like, I didn't, at the time, I was like, oh yes, I want to be a kindergarten teacher. And now that I teach like fifth grade, I'm like, no.
I know. I
but
feel. Yeah.
but I mean, really, that's what inspired me to choose teaching over, anything else, because I um I had good teachers growing up, and I had good relationships with my teachers. And
Totally.
I think I'm very fortunate to have that, because a lot of kids can't say that. And I get so many comments on my videos that say, like, oh, I wish my teacher was like you, or I wish, I went to your school, or because that humbles me so much, because I'm like, okay, even if you can't have that teacher in real life right now, like I can be your online teacher. Like I can
Totally.
be
Yeah.
your 10 fifth grade teacher, and that kind of also inspires me to be better for my kids that I actually do have
Yeah.
in my classroom, and to do more for them, because, there are kids that wish they could be in my room. And so like, I want to give them a reason to wish they were in my room.
For sure. I mean, technology these days and just everything we have going on, TikTok is such a blessing for so many people. So it's so cool that so
Mm-hmm.
many people have learned what you're up to and want that. But, like you said, teachers are so important. And a lot of times, like, they stick with you forever. Like, you have that one teacher who tells you you can do it, and no one else in your life believed in you, and then you do the damn thing because someone believed in you. So, you know, for you to have built this platform and like, you know, you're helping the people that you know personally, but then so many other people, I feel like TikTok is about building community and like connecting with people and being like,
Mhm.
hey, I'm here for you, you know. So that's really awesome. And you definitely are that teacher that a lot of people would want to have. And there's just like all this can you see the comments?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, there's so many different people, but sometimes when I'm interviewing someone, they don't show up. So very exciting though, super awesome stuff. What would you say your style is as a teacher, if you could put a word to it?
Um, I know this isn't really a style, but I guess I would say like just like goofy.
No,
Like,
I mean I feel
I
like that's a
mean,
perfect description though.
yeah, I'm really chill. Like my kids from the beginning of the year, like I set expectations. They know, that I demand respect and I'm
Of
going to
course.
give you the same respect back. But as soon as they know that, like they know where the line is and where not to cross, and then it's just pretty easy going from then. Like we just have a lot of fun, and I think sometimes so many teachers get like really irritated by little things that could
Totally.
be
You pick your battles.
right. Pick your battles, people. Like it's not that deep, and I think sometimes people just like fly off the handle for little things, and that's what ruins like that relationship with each student. Like every time you yell at that kid, they're gonna trust you less and less, and every time you nitpick at everything they do, they're gonna like you in class less and less. And
Right.
so for me, it's really like be nice to each other, don't touch each other, and we're
Right,
good.
right.
Like if that's if you're being respectful, then we're gonna be fine. So I
Totally.
mean, I just say like chill and goofy, I guess.
No, I think those are really good things. I feel like I'm similar, and that classroom management is everything. And if you don't like
Mm-hmm.
demand that respect and like have it all figured out in the beginning, then
Mm-hmm.
some of them will walk all over you. But I've also learned that there's some kids who will give me a run for my money, but then like when I am like tougher on them, they respect me so much more. The next morning they come like, I love you so much, you know?
Oh yeah, I had one of those last year. Oh my gosh. So this one girl, she was just like this last year was my first year at this new school.
Hmm.
And I came from an inner city school where I had like just behavior problems out everywhere. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Where do you
I
live? Where do you live?
I live in Northeast Ohio.
I knew that. Okay, okay.
Yeah. So the school I taught at previously had a lot of behavior problems, and then I came to this school, and everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, good luck with this class coming up. They're not a good group. They're gonna be rough." And I was like, "Oh really?" Like,
Darn
and
it.
so then like when I got them, thinking like what rough meant where I came from, and like what rough was to them, it was like nothing. And then the one girl in my class, she just had like an attitude because she was much more mature than the other kids, so she had like queen bee complex where she wanted to be like top dog and everything, and she was tough, and she was so like we had a little power struggle at the beginning of the year, but then once she learned that like you're not gonna mess with me, like
That's not gonna
she
work.
yeah, she was like my best friend at the end of the year. So
Totally.
it just, you gotta see how each kid ticks because everyone's different. So
Yeah, and start it from the beginning, because if like you start out like being too soft and then all of a sudden they're like, "What the heck?" But I think a lot of kids respond well to that, and then like when you're consistent about it, they're like, "Oh my gosh." So, in regards to teaching and then also TikTok, how has your creativity changed? I feel like with quarantine things, or like, how do you feel like you use your creativity most? Because as a teacher, like, we want to make it fun. We want to enjoy, like, the kids to enjoy what we're doing, but also would like to enjoy it too. But the fact that you've grown so much on TikTok and you're, doing things all the time that requires you to be creative, how do you feel that has sparked?
oh, I think like I felt like I was in a rut. Like honestly, my after my third year at that inner city school, I actually like gave up on education,
Hmm.
and I was like, if I don't get a job at another school, I'm just gonna leave because I can't do this anymore. Um, and I was actually like in the process of applying to be an officer in the Air Force.
Oh, wow.
So I was like filling out all the applications and like scheduling my tests and interviews and all that stuff. And then I got this interview at the school and I got the job and was like, okay, well, I guess I'll give it one more chance. So, like, I was definitely in a rut before
Yeah,
TikTok. And
totally.
I felt like, um, before TikTok, I felt like I was professional, but like to a fault. Like, I felt like I couldn't have fun with my kids. I couldn't be a real human being. I couldn't be who I was. And now that like they see me as like this goofy person all the time online, they
Right.
know that that's who I really am.
Sure.
And like getting to partner with different companies and different brands has definitely sparked my curiosity, creativity with
Totally.
different projects and things. Like right now, I'm partnering with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and doing a project with the Rock Hall EDU.
That's so cool.
And it's so cool. It's like I love music and I like grew up singing in choirs and stuff. And so like
Yeah,
for me, this is like a dream come true. Like,
totally. That's so
um,
cool.
so I'm having my students do kind of like a wax museum project where they're gonna like research an inductee from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and like write a biography about them and dress up as them and like do little speeches for all the younger grade levels.
That's
Um,
fun.
but instead of just like, regular everyday, historical figures, they're doing musicians and bands. And it's kind of cool to like switch that up and do a little bit of something different.
Right.
And I would have never thought of that or never have done that had I not been able to have this opportunity. So
Yeah.
I definitely think those things have really upped my game in teaching. And then
Totally.
also just the things that I do on a daily basis are different. Like I mean, me hiding corner Jim, the little rat in my classroom, like
Right.
that's the thing I never did before TikTok. And my kids look forward to that. They look forward to the random background of the day and like just little things. And I think that's like something that TikTok has sparked in me and given me kind of like that question of, okay, what extra thing can I do for my kids today that will make them smile or
Yeah.
that will just make today special and make them excited to come to school and things like that. So I definitely think it has made me a better teacher.
Yeah. I mean, I want to be in your class. It sounds like so much fun. I mean, you want your kids to love and trust you. I'm like a special educator too. And so I like have learned so much just with all kids, but like the social aspect for so many people is just as important as the academics.
Oh
And so
yeah.
as much as you're going to be teaching them like about history and like different people in history and stuff that's happening in science and all this stuff, the fact that you're able to do that and still incorporate like they're writing biographies and like they're having fun and like
Yeah.
still being able to be social and like with COVID and like quarantine, there's so many things we haven't gotten to do in that. So like for them to look forward to going to school and the fact that you guys like get to go to school is so much fun.
Yeah, I definitely am. I was, I mean, my husband has Crohn's disease. So, like, at the beginning of all this, I was really scared and, like, I was real nervous going to school
Yeah,
with, a classroom full of kids and germs and
totally.
all that. And, you know, now seeing how it's all played out, I'm really glad that we did. And my district has been really good about, you know, rolling it out the correct way and making sure everybody's safe. So that was good.
Yeah, I mean, and I think you guys there 5 days a week?
Yes.
Okay, because we're doing 4 days, and apparently they're like hoping potentially they have a meeting on Thursday, but they're potentially going to start sending kids in the next week or in the next couple of weeks, 4 days a week, which is crazy because summer's in 6, 7
I was
weeks,
gonna
right?
say, when does your school end?
June 15th.
Oh, okay, we're done May 26th.
That's when
So
my brother's done, and he's like a senior in high school, but we're done like June 15th. But then they're also only planning to do 4 days next year because we've had Wednesdays as like asynchronous all year. And then like there's just like all this online stuff, but I don't know what's going to happen, but it just kind of was crazy.
yeah, it's this year has definitely been a whirlwind. Like it just feels like there's not enough time in the day for anything,
So
and there's not enough time in the year for anything. So I think everybody feels a little frazzled this year.
it all goes by so quickly too. So it's like, what did
Hmm.
I get done? But then I also got so much. My list is just going on forever. So If you could describe yourself in 3 words, whether it be like as a teacher, just as a person, I feel like even if it's as a person, that stuff is going to come into your teaching strategy and just what you do. What would you say they would be, or how would other people describe you?
I would say understanding, silly, and determined, because I I like to think that I have a very, very keen sense for others' feelings and understanding other people's situations. And
You're good. I can't hear you. Oh, there we
but
go. You're good.
oh, sorry, I said, oh, sorry. Okay, can you hear me now?
Hold on. Yeah, you're good.
Oh my gosh, my grandpa keeps trying to call me.
I know. No, that's okay. I had someone try and call me the other day too. It's okay. Don't even worry.
So if it cuts out again, that's because he's still trying to call me.
No
But
worries.
as for like, okay, being understanding, like I think a lot of teachers have gotten better in this aspect. Like I know I grew up in the generation where it was like, you know, you did your homework, you did your projects, there was no excuses for anything. Like I don't care if, you know, your dog died last night, you better turn in your homework. Like so
Totally.
I just feel like, you know, why are we being so harsh with some of these kids that are 10 and 11? Like if there are legitimate reasons, you know, why someone's not doing something, then okay. But, you know, if it's like, you know, a kid's not doing their homework and it's been consistent over a week, have you tried asking them why? Like maybe they go
Right.
home and they have to take care of their siblings, or maybe they go home and they don't even have a pencil at home to do their homework, or,
Totally.
you know, so
Yeah.
like we kind of have to think from other people's perspectives what they're dealing with.
100%.
Um, and as for like being silly, obviously we know why I'm silly, but
Yeah, of course.
um, and then as for being determined, I feel like that's just been like it could be a good and bad thing. Like I'm determined in the fact that I will always like finish something that I've started, and I'm always like reaching for the next thing, and I always want to like continue to move myself forward.
Yeah.
But sometimes that can also lead to me um like going ahead of schedule and then having to take a couple steps back because I've gone too far, you know?
Yeah.
Like that happened to me a lot in college. I would like try to get an assignment done like weeks ahead of time just to get it out of the way, and then a professor would change something about the assignment and I'd have to redo parts of it. So, I mean, yeah, those would be the 3 things I guess I would describe myself as.
No, I think they're great. I asked that question just because I feel like we all get so stressed, and a lot of the times we're not thinking about all like the positive aspects about ourselves. Like we hear other people say things, you know, but like
Right.
sometimes we kind of gotta like dive deep. And some people I ask, like they really have to think about it too. And so I just think it's really important to focus on the positive things. And those are all really wonderful and, important as a teacher and just as like a friend and like a wife, like everything that you're doing in your life. So I think that's awesome.
Thank you.
Of course, you're welcome. In regards to teaching, what would you say the best thing is like that you get out of being a teacher, and then the hardest thing?
The best is for me all of the like silly moments with your students, and like, you know, knowing that they're going to remember you
Like
down the
relationships.
road.
Yeah.
Those relationships. Yeah, I like that in my job. I think that's my favorite part.
I agree. I
Um,
agree.
and as for like the hardest things, there's a long list of hard things when it comes to being a teacher. And, you know, it's whether it's not being able to help a student that you really want to help, or, you know, having something be out of your means of assisting someone, like when you
Yeah.
have that. And I think that's where like I was suffering at my old school, because there were so many students that had come from trauma and come from, you know, terrible home lives, and the 6-7 hours a day that I had with them was not going to be able to help them enough to the
Yeah.
point where, you know, they were ready to sit and learn. And
Totally.
so it made me feel like a failure, because I couldn't do enough for them. And it was, I think that's one of the hardest things is when like you're trying so hard at something and you're just not able to reach it because there are so many obstacles in your way.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes as teachers, we have to take a step back and say, you know, I'm doing everything in my power to, you know, make this better or to be positive about something or to do what I can for this student.
Yeah.
Now, I can't control the other things. And, you know, that's something I really had to learn over these past 5 years.
Yeah, and just like loving on your babies the best that you can. It's like, and even legally, there's only so much you can do in so many situations, and I feel like that's a really good hard thing. I mean, it's a bad hard thing, but you know what I mean? Like it's terrible. Like there's really only so much you can do, but you can still be a light, which you are to all of the kids. But there is so many things that people have to deal with, kids have to deal with at such a young age, and especially when if we've grown up where we don't experience things like that, we all have our different traumas, you know, but like
Right.
can't even start to compare it because it's so hard and tragic.
No, I know. It's like teaching at the district I used to teach in like made me like my parents growing up, like my parents were not like always the happiest together. They fought a lot and like we always had our own family issues, but like teaching at that district made me, you know, take a step back and think like, wow, I really kind of had it good. And
Totally. Yeah.
you know, I have no right to complain. And, you know, like everyone has a right to complain about their own hardships, but it really just makes you think about what you're blessed to have and think about all the good things in your life and, you know, that you're not dealing with some of the things that these poor kids are dealing with.
Yeah, you start to like compare and just realize you got it good. But then I know it's totally like tragic. Some people it's tragic, but you know, like you said, like I said, such a light in their life. You're helping so many people on a regular basis. So it's very inspirational, and just like teachers are really everything. I don't think that even going to school for education until I was actually like in a school building, I was like, hell no, I didn't realize how hard this is. Like I had no idea that this just like requires every part of you. Like, I mean, I guess every job does, but it's like emotional and physical and everything.
Yeah, and I mean, I know there are other jobs like that, but
for sure,
you know, at the risk of sounding, you know, all teachery,
the truth.
I mean, I really did not realize, you know, in college, I don't think people realize that teachers, like when you're going to school to be a teacher, at least at the school I went to, you student teach, and you're literally doing 40 hours of work every week.
Right.
For free, and you're going to school full time while you're doing that. And at the time, you know, a lot of the behind the scenes stuff is done by your like mentor teacher, and you're, you know, you don't really get the whole idea of it. And then once you start teaching your first year, like so many mental breakdowns are coming your way. Like you just so many, and you can't avoid them because you're learning on the job and trying to deal with, you know, 25 little humans that, you know, all have their own little mental breakdowns that you have to deal with. And I think, you know, a lot of people don't put their own mental health into perspective. And I sure didn't, because I would stay at work until like 8, 9 o'clock at night every day. And I would just like, because I'm very type A. So like I have to get everything done ahead of time or else I feel like I'm drowning. So I would be there till 9 o'clock at night every day doing something. Then I'd go, like before I was married, at my boyfriend's house, I'd go hang out with him, and I'd just pass out because I was so tired. Like, so like you don't have any kind of work-life balance, and oh my gosh, you don't realize any of those things until you start teaching, and it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I am not very type A, so I'm very like and I feel like I'm working on it. I'm getting much more organized, but I'm very wing it, last minute, like creativity on the spot. And sometimes I'm like, this is bad.
Yeah, but I think that's a good thing. Like, I wish I was like that, because maybe I wouldn't be so high strung sometimes. And like no lie, I'm very transparent about the issues that I struggled with as a teacher, like a first year teacher, a second year teacher. And like my first couple of years teaching, like I legit got prescribed anxiety medication because I was so anxious to go to work every day. And I was just like, you know, I'd be up like grading papers or lesson planning until 11 o'clock at night because I felt like I had to. And it took a long time for me to finally realize that you don't have to do that, and you can still be a
Right.
good teacher and not,
Totally.
live your life teaching.
Yeah.
So
True.
yeah, I mean, I wish I was not as type A as I am.
Right.
So
But
yeah,
it
I can
makes you great
do.
in your own way. When you said that you were working on college papers like weeks in advance and then they changed like something and you have to fix it, my stomach started to hurt because I was like, never in my life has that ever been a thing where I was even close to thinking like that. Like I wish, but I was such a procrastinator getting things done. So like I did fine. I do well under the stress, so it was beneficial for me. But like, oh my gosh, I was like, go her. And she had to
Oh,
change it. I was like, oh my gosh.
oh my God. Everybody, I mean, everybody's different. Like that's my husband. My
Totally.
husband procrastinates the last minute and he like gets it all done and it's beautiful. And like for me, I like to sit and overthink and like plan
Yeah,
out and then change and then replan. And so like
I'd pop. I'd explode.
I would literally drive myself insane, and then I would do something, think I did it the right way, and then a professor would come along and be like, "Oh, we're gonna do it this way now," and I'd be like,
That's so
"Dang
annoying.
it!"
Because you're definitely not the only one too. So like that's so annoying because there's totally like more than one people. I feel like especially in teaching those, you have so much planning to do. Like there's so many things you do have to get ready for. So that's a really good thing. One of the teachers I work with has this like such elaborate plan book, and I'm just like writing little notes, like very, very minimal. But I get it done. It's fine. But when you were working at the school that was kind of tricky, were you doing like a program like Teach for America or something, or you just were kind of placed in a spot that was hard?
No, my area. So like I'm in Northeast Ohio, like in the Youngstown area. And the school I was at was just a larger inner city school
Gotcha.
for our area. And there are two main larger inner city schools in this area, and then a bunch of little rural schools, um, mostly all public, and like maybe a couple charter schools in here. And um, the it's really hard to get a job in this area that's not inner city.
Yeah,
And I'm not to say that inner city is not a job that you want. I think it
it's
takes a
different.
special kind of person. Right. I think it just takes a special kind of personality and, demeanor to work inner city. And I think, at least the school I came from, I could not say one bad thing about any of the teachers that worked there. They all taught their hearts out every single day, and they all were just phenomenal humans and like
Totally.
always willing to help and always, for me, I think with my level of anxiety that I deal with, I don't think that was conducive to that environment.
Yeah.
And it just, that combined with like at the time I had an administrator that wasn't very supportive. And so those two things together just, it just didn't work. And I knew that if I stayed there any longer, that I wasn't gonna make it. So
Yeah.
but yeah, like I had friends in my second grade pod, there were 4 teachers and a intervention specialist. And there was one teacher who was the veteran teacher, and then the other 3 of us had all
Right.
started the same year. So
Oh
we had
wow.
3 new teachers and
Totally.
all trying to survive together. And the rest of them are all still there. They all still teach together.
Oh wow,
Um,
that's good.
right. And I commend them. I just wasn't fit for that environment. It wasn't a good
Yeah.
fit for me.
Yeah.
And I think that's okay. Like
It is.
I think it's a very difficult job, and I know I'm a little biased here, but anyone who teaches inner city deserves to be paid way more than
Totally.
you
I
know
agree.
the average teacher, because they're doing probably twice the work. Like when I went to my new school, um, like at my old school, I had to type up like pretty much like 20-page lesson plans every single week. And I had like, I'm not, no joke. It was like I was in college, like 20-page lesson plans, spreadsheets, like no other, like behavior plans, like no other. And then like, we had common planning twice a week. So I only had 3 planning periods to myself. And then because I was new, actually I only have 2 planning periods, because the 5th planning period, they did like a new teacher meeting, which
Of course they
is
did.
waste of time.
Yeah.
So it was just like too much, that it was like overload.
Yeah.
And um when I came to this new school, it was like Shangri-La. Like there was like nothing I didn't have to turn in lesson plans, and like
Yeah.
I didn't have to do a bunch of different spreadsheets every week, and it was just so nice. And there were still teachers that thought that was bad because they had only taught there for their entire career. And I'm like,
Right.
listen, go teach over here for like 1 year.
Get some exposure. Get
Right.
some exposure and figure it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think like people who don't teach don't understand why that burnout rate is like so high, but like realistically you want to help everyone and you just can't.
Right.
And
you want to be the best at everything and you can't. Like you something ends up falling, and it usually ends up being your mental health and your physical health. And
it's so sad.
Yeah, it is sad. And I mean, even though that school wasn't a fit for me, I could never explain the amount of learning that I did in 3 years of working there. Like oh my God, I learned so much just teaching there for 3 years that, I mean, now could I take back the stress and anxiety? Cool. But like, I'm grateful that I learned the things I learned because they helped me now where I'm at. So
yeah, absolutely. It shapes you into like who you are. And like never, I know you're not saying that you are, but like never be hard on yourself for like not sticking it out there, because it is so tough, and you definitely made such an impact on like the kids that you were with, and it is so challenging. Of course, you're welcome. It is just so hard. Like I could just, even the thought, like things I've heard, the school that I work at right now is more of a like, I wouldn't say upper class, but like a lot of people have money, but there's also a lot of friends with severe needs. And so it's like, some have money and some have severe needs, but then, so it's just like there's all kinds of things going on. It's an amazing school, but it's hard, there's different things in each classroom. And then a friend of mine was at a Title I school, and just like the story she was telling me of like exposure, like that the kids had like, things that had happened at an early age. It's just heartbreaking. And
oh my gosh, without getting into too much detail, like the things I experienced in that school in 3 years time was baffling. Like I had I had 2 students pass away in a car accident because their parent was driving them drunk at midnight. I had a student whose dad was shot and killed. I had a student that had like severe anger issues and actually would like hit me, and like I would get hurt. And it was just like, oh my God. Like,
it's scary. It's like
it's scary. It's very scary. Like I can't imagine being, because I was second grade at the time. I can't imagine being 8 years old and finding out that my dad was just shot and killed, or finding out that, my brother was killed in a car accident because my mom was out late at night or something like that. Like it's just
it's horrible.
You can't put yourself in those shoes. There's no way to, try to imagine what that feels like. And as an 8-year-old trying to deal with that kind of trauma,
I'd want to hit something too.
Right. I'd want to punch someone too. Like,
and
why
you
is
can't
my
make
life
it up.
so unfair? Right.
And you can't make it up. Like the stories, I feel like teachers come home like sharing with other people. They're like, nah, like they don't even believe you, because they're like, there's no way.
Right.
That
You just
like
can't.
An 8-year-old's dealing with that, but they just, you have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Oh my gosh. So because TikTok does have like a really large, I'm going to try and uplift us a little bit because it is so sad to think about all the things.
We got a little dark there for a minute.
I know, but it's true and important for people to know that it's hard, and you experience sadness, but you're there as a light to like help guide the kids through. So that's what we're here for. But teacher TikTok is really cool. There's a lot of like huge creativity. Have you seen those desk pets for the little kindergartners? Oh, well, girl, I have some for my kids and they love it. Like I was just like, oh, I would have never thought of this, but it's so fun. Like such a good idea. Have all the virtual kids, their parents picked one up, so they have one too. But have you connected with many like other teacher TikTokers? Like has that been like a thing, or like made friends through that like little community, large community? It's not even little.
Oh yes. I'm actually a part of a TikTok teacher group. We're the Teacher Hype House, and it's just like a collection of 15 different TikTok teachers, and it's not all just like people that have like large followings either. It's just we all just kind of became friends over the app, and we actually do like meetups together. And
so fun.
So like last summer we went to San Francisco and like met up and just made a bunch of videos over the weekend.
That's so fun.
Just this past week, I just got back from Las Vegas. I met up with a couple other TikTok teachers, Mrs. Miller, Mrs. Bench, that new teacher, Miss Frost, Gary Brooks. And we kind of just all support each other. And it's nice because not only do I have like teacher friends at my own school, but then I have, you know, people that I talk to every single day who, if I have some kind of teaching issue, I can, you know, text them and be like, hey guys, what would you do in this situation? Or should I do this? Or, and it's nice that we all come from different backgrounds. We all come from different grade levels and all kinds of stuff. But there's like such a large community of teachers on TikTok that there's literally something for everyone. Like I just got done I did a presentation for Harris County Department of Ed and was talking about this exact topic and like just explaining how even if you're like not into making videos and you don't want your face all over the internet and things like that, like that's totally fine. You can still find something on TikTok for yourself. Like there are so many good ideas and like classroom hacks and content hacks that you can pull from that are just like invaluable. And I mean, there are plenty of teachers on there that make little 1-minute content videos too that, you know, you could show your kids a 5-minute YouTube video and about half of them fall asleep halfway through, or show them this 1-minute TikTok and, like, you know, yeah, they just learned how to multiply fractions or something like that. So it just depends on what you're looking for, but there's such a huge community of teachers and, you know, the majority of them, I can't speak for everyone, but the majority of them are very, 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 you know, creative and nice and friendly and just willing to help and yeah, just all the good things. So yeah, it's awesome.
I cannot, like, I swear, especially like teachers, artists though on TikTok, like the food people are making, every day it's some kind of different niche that's popping up because I'm so like multifaceted. I cannot pick what my niche, like I have a TikTok and I want to start like building more, but I'm so all over the place. My niche is like, I'm still figuring it out, you know. I'm going to try and incorporate like, because I have a bunch of content creators and stuff like booked for the next couple of months for Chat E. So I want to kind of figure out how to incorporate like community building and like, you know, the people I talk to. So I'm like still brainstorming, figuring it out. But like, I swear everyone on TikTok is so crazy cool. This guy, he's from Denmark, and I was like talking to him recently. He like picks leaves up from outside and like cuts your face into it. Like it's literally like a picture of like, but it's amazing. Like that picture,
wait, he cuts your face into a leaf?
A leaf. I'll send it to you. It's so cool. And then yesterday there's this guy who used a peach stamp, you know, like Justin Bieber's new like Peaches song.
Yeah.
He used a stamp and he made Justin Bieber out of the stamp. It's like only the stamp, like, but it looks just like him. God. And it's so cool. And I was like, imagine if I even tried. Like it would smell.
I don't know how people do this. Like
so good.
When I first started on TikTok, I was like heavily on the artist side of TikTok. And there's even this one artist that I love to death. I believe her name is Sarah. It's either LaPierre or just Pierre. And her handle is Thick Paint. And she does impasto art where it's all acrylic paint, but like it's like globs of paint on the canvas. And it's just so satisfying to watch. And I like her, and then I forget the other guy's name, but there's this one guy who does like not spinning art, but like where he has like a paint can on a pendulum and it's like spinning around, like he makes like different art pieces like that. Oh my gosh, I love, like, that's a good thing about TikTok is like you can find something like, you know, even if you're a teacher or whatever, you can find something that like you have a hobby in on there and watch tons of videos on that.
I know, it is. People are so cool, so cool, and it's just really exciting. And I'm like, wow, I could try that, and I promise it would not be good. But like, there's so much detail. It's just so fun, and no, I'm really glad that you found your like click. I mean, the fact that you're connecting and doing all these like sponsorship things is so awesome. But you know, it's because I say this whenever it's true, but people connect to authenticity. Like people know when you're playing, people know when you're not being real. So the reason that you've grown such a following is because people are like, this is who she is. And so that's really a big deal because, you know, everyone can see right through when people are pretending.
Right. And I try really hard. Like, you know, I'm not very much to one to put a mask on. Like if I'm not feeling it, I'm not feeling it. But
Totally.
if,
Yeah.
you know, I'm goofy, and I always used to like when I was in high school, I was on a speech and debate team and I did acting and stuff like that. And I always felt like kind of an outcast because I didn't really fit into like any one group.
Yeah.
And you know, when I found TikTok and I found like my speech friends and stuff like that, like it all made sense. And I'm like, okay, well, this is where I belong because I can be goofy and silly on here and people like who I am. And it's not like, you know, I'm putting on a show for people. Like this is just me being
Yeah.
weird. Like,
Yeah. And that's
so,
what I gravitate towards. I feel like that's like an issue that I have with TikTok is like I overthink it. I'm like over analyzing it. And it's like if I was just being myself and having fun, I'd be great. You know, I'd be fine. But I'm just like
no, I thought I used to do the same thing. Like when I first started, I was really nervous because I mean, you are putting yourself out there to pretty much the mercy of the internet.
Like
Right.
literally.
Right. And you know, people can be really mean. And I mean, I'm definitely not one that has like super thick skin, and I overthink, like if I ever get like mean comments or stuff like that, I overthink them. And you know, I think sometimes it's just like you just gotta pretend those people don't exist and do it for you and just have fun, and you know, everything else will fall into place. But
yeah,
you know,
they've got no good reason. They've got no
right,
reason
right.
most of the time. So you know, do you get? I guess like you've already surpassed 100 million. I was like telling my parents this, and like my dad was like, "You mean 100,000?" I was like, "No." I was like, "No, she just had a party. Like not like what, a couple weeks ago, a month ago." But like I was like, "No, like 100 million." And he was like so confused because it's crazy the way TikTok has people connecting. Like like how quickly your following can grow though on TikTok. Like someone could have 1 million in 2 weeks if they did something crazy, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I try not to compare myself with other people because like even though, you know,
That's good.
for the teachers, like I think I have one of the largest followings.
I bet. Yeah.
But you know, I still compare myself to like people that have bigger followings than I do. And I'm like, why am I not getting those views? Like, you know, throwing myself a pity party, and then I have to sit there and be like, shut up, Lauren. Like you're doing like shut up.
You're doing wonderful. Do you
So
heroes or
I know. But I'll watch like videos of people that like, you know, one of their viral videos pops up on my For You page and they have like 3 million followers. And then in the next like 5 days, they had like 25 million. I'm like, holy crap. I'm like, how'd you do that? I'm like, I've been working on this for a year. Like,
yeah.
So yeah, it all just depends. I mean, you never know. That's the other thing about TikTok. It's so finicky. Like you don't ever know what's going to go viral. So like something I think is going to do really, really well. And I'm like, oh, this one's going to hit. This is going to hit 1 million. And then it just flops entirely. Or like something I post that I'm just like, nah, I don't care about this one. I'm just going to post it to post it. And then it goes viral. And it's like, why do I even try? Like,
I know, but I feel like that happens all the time. And it's, it's so crazy. But I mean, I feel like you've grown really quickly. A year is like not that long of time, you know, and especially because you're just being so authentic, and teaching is like so important, but like people want to hear everything that you're doing and that you're up to your creativity. So that's really cool. And I can tell that you're still being your real self at the end, because you know, when I first started doing this and was like talking to people that are like have a larger following, like I have a solid like Instagram following and stuff, but like I don't really use TikTok and all that stuff. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm nervous. They're like famous. But then I'm like, dude, like even if I met Justin Bieber, of course I'd freak out. Like if I meet Jennifer Aniston, whoever, I don't know, I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, but they're just people too. Like we're just hanging out. We're just talking, and they'd probably be fine. They'd be great, you know?
It's very strange to me, that concept of like famous. Like I don't see myself as that at all.
Yeah.
But like it kind of hit me like when we were in Las Vegas, we did 2 different meetups, and it was crazy to me that like this one girl had driven 3 hours from like California to come and meet me. And then like another family, they just so happened to be on vacation for like a wedding or something, and they were from like Tucson, Arizona, and like they actually stayed to meet me. It's like it's those things that you don't expect out of it, and it's like
Right.
so humbling, and you're like, oh man, like those numbers are actually real people, and
Yeah.
that's like it still doesn't hit, like, you know, you never get used to it. I think maybe once you get to like Charlie D'Amelio or Addison Rae level, but like at this level I'm like, I'm not famous, like I'm just a teacher in Ohio, like
I mean,
but
that's so cool though. That's so cool. And I feel like we talked about consistency earlier, but like the more consistent you are, like I don't know, it pays off. I was in Nashville a couple weeks ago with my mom and was in the bathroom and like to make friends with everyone. So I was talking to this girl and she was from Arkansas and I asked her if she knew this boutique that I like was my fourth chatty ever. And I asked her if she knew the person like this boutique and she was like, "Oh my gosh, like Brooke owns that." And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Wait a second." And then she says to me, she goes, "Wait, you're the one who did the interview and you did it with Micah, like you're famous." And she's drunk and I'm like, we're having so much fun. But I was like, she didn't know my name, but like all of a sudden it connected and she'd watched 2 of my interviews and she literally is from Arkansas. And
oh
I
my gosh.
am just using like this right now and like, you know, working on figuring out how to go about TikTok, but it is so cool. And I was like, she didn't know my name or my face right away, but then like, I was like, what the heck? That's amazing. I got to keep doing this. It's so fun. But I was like, it was so cool, you know? So, yeah. Definitely very cool stuff to come, and it'll only continue to grow and you'll blossom even more than you already have. So what are your goals for your future, whether that be in regards to like what you want to do with teaching or what, not even like where you want to be with TikTok, but like I don't know if you have new content plans or what are your thoughts on what you want for your future?
I have like a couple different like paths, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
depending on, you know, where everything takes me.
Totally.
Um, I mean, obviously I have my master's degree in literacy, so like
That's cool.
if you know, if social media were to blow up tomorrow and like I never ever made another TikTok again, I kind of would like to move to like a coaching position in a school.
That'd be cool.
But you know, on the flip side, if I could continue social media, I would like to eventually get into like either like speaking and, you know, kind of promoting TikTok and promoting other social media apps to teachers.
Yeah,
And on the other side of that is like getting into more of like that comedy and like acting aspect of it, because that's kind of where my heart lies,
sure.
and where I kind of came from in terms of like that speech team I was on and stuff. Like acting has always been kind of a dream
Yeah,
profession, but
totally.
like, you know, if that would ever to happen, cool. If not, I'm perfectly happy, you know, doing TikToks for people. But
Yeah,
yeah, I think those are the main ones. Like speaking is kind of like what I'm trying to get into right now. I started doing a couple of them and I'm kind of trying to get the ball rolling with that. Um,
really awesome. Good for
but
you.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, it's wherever it takes me. I'm pretty go with the flow in terms of those things. I think if you try to push it too much, then,
yeah,
you know, it just, you know, as long as you're working towards something, everything will fall into place. And I'm very much, you know, everything happens for a reason and everything that should happen will happen. And so
totally. Yeah.
leave it to fate.
And I was taught this from a very special friend of mine, but said it's like when you have this big ladder and like you have all these goals for yourself. Because I'm like I always want to do all my big stuff at once, you know. And so I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, oh my gosh, and then I don't get anything done because like the circle can't complete itself because I want 9 huge things that are a really big deal to me, but I have to take the little steps, and I could even take little steps at 4 different things to reach,
Right.
you know, but just kind of figuring out what you want first and like where you want it to go, and like you said, like trial and error, and then but you can make it all happen. It's just not all going to happen at the same time, and that's like
Right.
learn. I struggle with that like daily.
I know it's hard when you have like big goals and you just want to leap right to them. And
Yeah,
yeah.
but everything that you want, everything that's worth it and good in life takes hard work, so all part
Mm-hmm.
of it. But I mean, like I said, working and doing, creating the content that you are, and also teaching full time is already a lot of work. And then making YouTube grow, I can only imagine how busy you are. So, I mean, but you're only going to continue to build and to grow. So, we're kind of going to finish things up. It's been so awesome talking to you and getting to know you. I feel like you have
Oh, thank
so much
you.
knowledge and just like you're exciting, you know, a lot of good stuff going on. Um, but if you want to just like kind of end off on if you have any tips for people or just like first year teachers, new teachers, like coming into the profession, or just a lot of times I'm talking to like people who have started their own business. So I guess just following their dreams and going after things that might be out of your comfort zone.
Okay, well, I can do one for like the businessy thing and one
Totally.
for teachers. So, um, in terms of like being for new teachers, one of the things I struggled with the most was obviously the time management and, realizing that you need to have a work-life balance. And if you don't, you're going to quickly run yourself into the ground. So to, set a hard line, like, okay, I'm leaving the classroom at 4:30, no matter what is done, what's not done,
Yep.
I'm gone, and I'm not taking work home with me. And that's just like one of the biggest things that's helped me, not only with my job, but like my own personal relationships and
Totally. Yeah.
just spending time with my family and my loved ones. So just make sure that you're not, overworking yourself. And I think that's important because sometimes new teachers feel like they have something to prove.
Absolutely.
And, it's okay. You're not, nothing's gonna fall apart if you don't grade that one extra spelling test that night, or maybe you don't reorganize your library that night. It'll be fine. So
Yeah, it will be fine. It'll still be there tomorrow.
exactly. And then for like the businessy aspect of it, I would say just keep making new connections, always accept new opportunities, and always put yourself in a position where you're forwarding your brand. Don't, you have to be super careful what you post. Okay. Like I'm always super careful what I post online. Obviously, we all know I'm an adult. I'm an adult. I can do adult things if I would like to, but seeing that my brand is a teacher content brand, I'm not going to post about my adult life
Right.
on my, my personal TikTok for, Mrs. Woolley and Fifth. But, the businessy aspect of that, meaning like you don't want your business to fall apart because of a mistake or because of something that you did that you decided to post on a whim. Like you got to be super careful what you post because of cancel culture now is like so toxic, and
I know.
People
And
can't
people,
make mistakes without getting canceled. So just be
the people
careful
you
with
never
that.
thought, the people you thought would stand tall forever are getting canceled.
Right. I know they're like falling to the ground, and it's like watch yourself.
No kidding. Yeah.
But yeah, always accept new opportunities and just keep making connections with other people. And yeah, it'll only help your business grow because you never know what you'll learn from somebody else, and you'll never know what business strategy they might have that you didn't even know of. And
Right.
without that connection, you would never know. So
Yeah, and I feel like there's so many people that are here to help. There's so many more people that are full of like positive vibes, that want to like look out for you and make sure that you're like thriving while the negativity is limited. So definitely super awesome. Well, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure. For anyone that didn't get to chime in for our entire episode, I will be posting it. It'll be like sticking on my IGTV, but also go to Elko Community Building on YouTube and you can see the chat there as well. And if there's anybody that is interested in being on Chat E or knows like a small business or someone cool that like you'd want to interview, my website is in my bio. So go to Elko Community Building and click on Chat E and you can send me a request or like apply, I guess. Not really, because I want to be your friend. We're not going to apply, but send a request just so we can chat about you being on the show. But seriously, it was such a pleasure. I'm so glad that we got to connect. I think that you're so real and really great. I think that I know that as a teacher and just as a human, the authenticity is everything, So thanks for being you. Keep it up, the good work. I'm excited to watch you continue to grow and for us to chat in the future. And I hope you have a wonderful night.
Thanks. You too.
Of course. Bye.
Bye.